Hi, my name is Lisa Pezzella, and I am your child science teacher this year. And welcome to our virtual curriculum night. So just a little bit about me to start off. This is now my 8th year teaching science at IMS and going into my 17th year of teaching middle school. Originally, I'm from the East Coast. My family is from New Jersey, and then I was born and raised in Florida and Alabama. It was there that I got my teaching degree and started teaching middle school in 2005. And about 8 years ago now, my husband and I, with our little dog Frankie, moved out here to Seattle. And I'm really happy that I am here teaching our 8th graders earth science. This has become one of my favorite areas of science to teach. So I have listed topics that we're going to be covering this year. These are the units that we're going to work through. And one of my biggest goals every year in this class is to inspire curiosity in our kids about the world around us, and also to develop strong critical thinking skills so that we can set them up for success beyond the classroom. And the way that we go about reaching those goals is through the alignment of our curriculum to the next generation science standards. So we've worked really hard over the last several years to realign what we do so that it fits NGSS. And beyond the NGSS being the standards that we teach, it's also a new way or a new style of teaching science. So in this type of setup, in this type of classroom, it's much more student-centered rather than teacher-led. So the way that our classes look from day to day are a little different than what we remember when we were in school ourselves. So rather than things like taking notes and memorizing scientific facts, we focus more on working together to figure things out like real scientists. I always tell the kids, scientists in the real world don't have a teacher to give them the answers, so we have to figure it out like they do. And an example of where we would see this, the way that we introduce our units is typically by starting with some kind of interesting or strange event that happens in the world. It kind of gives us a place where we can ground the concepts from our unit to something real. And then throughout the unit, we work together as a whole class to share ideas from our daily work, thinking about connections that might be there to the phenomenon. And then eventually we work together to figure out what is happening. Materials for this class, there will not be too many. The one thing that is important is that each student has what we call our field notebook or field journal. And this can be a spiral notebook, or it could be a binder that has paper inside of it. And it's just really important that it will be used for only science class. Outside of that, we do use our iPad pretty much on a daily basis. So important to have their charged iPad with them each day and something to write with. As far as textbooks go, we do have this earth science textbook. They won't necessarily need a physical hard copy of the book, because when we do use it, we attach links to our assignments so it can be accessed digitally. However, if it would be helpful to you, I can send one home. So just let me know if you would like that extra resource provided. And when we get ready to start using it, I'll make sure to have that sent home with your child. And then finally, I wanted to talk with you about the way that we are going to be grading. So in 8th grade science, we use standards-based grading, which you may have heard about. The purpose or the reason why I have transitioned into this type of grading style is that I really want for the grade to communicate to you their level of understanding with our science concepts, rather than it getting clouded with other factors. The most important thing to know here is to have a good understanding of these numbers on the 4, 3, 2, 1 scale. So those numbers do not represent point values, but they have a meaning in where we are with our progression in the learning. And so reaching a level 3, we tell kids this is where you want to be. A 3 means that they have achieved the standard, they've met the learning goal. And so again, very important though, because we use Skyward, if I input a 3, Skyward is going to want to think that it means 3 out of 4, but it doesn't. So please just ignore those percentages. And I will continue to send home information about grades along the way. But just know that a 3 means that they have met standard, and especially with the level of rigor in our NGSS science standards, we want to make sure that we celebrate that because it is a very rigorous set of standards that we are working towards. Adding on to that, in order to measure growth along the way throughout our units, we're going to be using proficiency skills, and I have an example of one here that you can see. So when we first start our units, much of our work is going to be just on building some of the basics, learning new vocabulary, learning some simple ideas. So early on, grades that you see when we first start will be in the range of 1s and 2s. And then as we add in different science skills that we're practicing and put all of that together, that is going to be what we consider reaching standards. So at the end of a unit, being able to apply multiple concepts from the basic level, as well as one of what we call our science and engineering practices or the science skills, would be to reach standard. And so again, this is something that should definitely be celebrated for being able to put all of that together. And although with standards-based grading behaviors, things like being engaged during class or completing daily assignments, those type of behaviors will not be graded, but they are still very important to achieving that success on our proficiency skills. So there will be feedback provided to you from time to time using this habits of learning rubric, just so that you can get a sense of how your child is doing in these different areas. Sometimes it will be their self-reflection. Sometimes it will be me looking at their work completion to give a feedback score on the 4-3-2-1 scale. But these habits of learning, again, they will not count towards their official grade. So they will be marked as a no count. And in closing, I want to do everything that I can to support your child into becoming an independent learner. So some suggestions that you could also do to help from home: encourage them. We have a homework center after school that they could attend if they need help with anything or if they've missed anything from being absent. Encourage them to use a planner in order to organize their time and their assignments between multiple classes. And also please encourage them to communicate with me at any time that they need. They're welcome to drop in and see me before school, after school, send me messages on Schoology. I will always make myself available to them. And also to you, so please let me know if you ever have any questions. Feel free to email me at any time. And I am looking forward to having a great year. Thank you.